Hello and welcome to the KRES All-Star Show. I'm Brad Boyer, Operations Manager for our Moberly group of stations, Quicks, KRES, Kirk, KTCM, and CentralMoInfo.com. For 46 years, we honored the All-Stars with a banquet, and coaches came to the podium to make the presentations. Fortunately, the pandemic didn't stop the football season. Unfortunately, the pandemic has stopped the banquet format. But we believe we found a nice alternative in this virtual show you can watch. At the conclusion of the season, we send a ballot to area coaches, and their vote determines the 24 All-Stars and the Coach of the Year, and our show will recognize those that have been voted to the team. Before we begin, I want to thank all of our area sponsors of high school football on our Alpha Media Moberly group of stations. Also, thanks to the coaches for their cooperation in getting the broadcast put together in a much different time. And thanks to the players for persevering in tough times and still creating some great memories. We hope you enjoy the KRES All-Star Show.
On a KRES All-Star presentation, we're joined by Boonville head football coach Greg Huff and his KRES All-Star defensive lineman DJ Wesolak, who's a junior. Coach Huff, your presentation.
Yeah, DJ Wesolak, Boonville, Missouri. DJ is a fantastic athlete for us. He plays offense and defense. First team all-conference kid on both sides of the ball. DJ earned more honors on the defensive side. He was a first team all-district player, an all-state player, and we look forward to what he can do next year as a senior. DJ is, to be real honest with you, probably the most athletically talented kid I've ever coached. He's a kid with a very bright future. Recently, I believe he's over 20 Division I offers at this time. He's going to be a true, probably a Power 5 football player in the future. So DJ Wesolak's a great Boonville Pirate, keeps getting better each day. Very fortunate to coach him, and I wish him nothing but the best in the future.
Yeah, pretty rare around this area to have a Power 5 talent. What is it that makes DJ so special on the field?
DJ's got tremendous athletic ability, just his ability to play sideline to sideline. You know, he's 6'5", 230 pounds, runs a 4.67 40. Tremendous broad jump. If he was at the NFL Combine last year as a junior, he would be been the best defensive end in the broad jump category. So that's what the college coaches like. They like to see his effort on the football field. He's a great pass rusher. But DJ's also working to improve his game, you know, physically getting himself stronger, mentally preparing himself for the grind that it's going to take to be a big-time player like he's going to be.
And how eager are you to see his development and your program's development next year?
Yeah, he's a big part of it. You know, when DJ goes, we go. A lot of kids look up to DJ not only as a football player but as a student athlete in general. He's done a fantastic job in the classroom. He's over a 3.0 GPA. Definitely on track to do big things. So DJ and a bunch of his classmates, there's a very solid junior class right now. We returned some starters for next year, and we look forward to it. You know, we got a pretty darn good team that's always on our way in conference play and in district play. But to be the best, you got to beat the best. So we're going to work to beat Blair Oaks and everybody else that's in our way.
Boonville head football coach Greg Huff and his KRES All-Star junior defensive lineman DJ Wesolak. Appreciate your time, Coach Huff and DJ.
Thank you, guys.
On the KRES All-Star presentation, we're joined by Scott Stevens and Dawson Baker of Brookfield High School. Dawson Baker on the KRES All-Star team as an offensive lineman. A senior, the Bulldogs finished 5-5 this season, won a district game, and won the historic Bell Game rivalry as well. Coach Stevens, your KRES All-Star presentation.
Before I really get going, I just want to thank, KRES for everything you guys do for our student athletes. You guys do a great job of highlighting our kids' achievements and, all the work they put in. So we really appreciate everything you guys do over there at the station. And, being a KRES All-Star is a huge deal. It's a big area, a lot of good football players. So, this is one of the toughest things to get, as a KRES All-Star. So it's a big deal when you get it, so congratulations to all those student athletes that got selected to this year's team. But first, let's go ahead. Let's start talking about our Brookfield football player, Dawson Baker. He was selected this year as an offensive lineman, and we felt like it was really, really deserving. couple things about Dawson. He was a 3-year starter for us here at Brookfield. It would have been a 4-year starter, but he ended up breaking his ankle in his sophomore year at a team camp, which was obviously a terrible deal. But if it wasn't for that, he would have been a 4-year starter for us. He's a 2-year captain for us, a great leader for us. And some of the things he was able to do this year, he was a all-district offensive lineman and defensive end, first-team all-conference offensive lineman and defensive end in the Clarence Cannon Conference. He was the KMZU Class 2 Defensive Player of the Year and a second-team all-state defensive end. And I really feel like all that was well-deserved with him. This year, Dawson was our starting center, and he did a phenomenal job with it. What's crazy is, before this year, he's never actually been an offensive lineman, so he was actually a starting running back for us last year. And going into this year, we knew we had some depth issues at that offensive line. And, it was awesome. When we went and talked to him this summer about, hey, there's a chance we're going to have to move you to the offensive line. He jumped with both feet in. His biggest thing is, and that tells you a lot about his character, he was the kind of guy that he just wanted to do what's best for the team. There was no, are you sure? Yeah, if that's what you think is going to be better for us, that's what I want to do. So he did a great job with it. I think center is one of the hardest jobs in football. You got to not only snap the football to the quarterback, but you also got to block the guy in front of you. And coming from a guy that's never done it before, he did a great job with it. I remember when we told him that he was going to be moving to the center, one of the first things he said was, well, we'll at least get a continue to return kicks. So, I think we had probably one of the only centers, that was wearing 54 back there returning kicks. And he was an awesome returner as well. It tells you about his athletic ability. But he did a great job for us, well-deserving. He's an amazing kid. Did a lot of great things for us this year.
Again, we're joined by Scott Stevens and Dawson Baker of Brookfield on a KRES All-Star presentation. That was exactly how I opened my interview with Dawson, was to say, KRES All-Star offensive lineman, but you were previously in the backfield. So, Coach Stevens, for anyone who's unfamiliar about your offense or about Dawson's abilities, give us some insight into what it was about Dawson individually and the offense that made you think, maybe we should move him from the backfield to center.
We run a flex bone offense, and with what he did last year at that wing back, he was a great blocker. Obviously we asked him to carry the football as well. He's, probably the fastest kid on our football team, so it's crazy when you have to move that guy up front. But what we knew about Dawson was he's a really strong kid. He's an athletic kid. With what we do offensively, we'd rather have, athletic guys up front than big guys that just take up space, so we knew with his athletic ability and his toughness, he has a little bit of mean streak to him as well, which I think that's what makes him such a great football player, whether it was on the offensive line, and also feel like moving him to offensive line this year made him a lot better defensive player. It taught him how to get hands-on and do that. And I think that's why he got some of those other awards, as well as I really feel like doing that made him definitely a complete player.
Dawson, one thing I didn't ask you in our All-Star interview, have you thought at all about what you'd like to do for the future, whether it's athletically, academically, or the workforce?
I'm planning on going to college to play football at Missouri Valley.
There you go. Good stuff. And back to you for a moment, Coach Stevens. 5-5 this year. What fueled the big step for the program forward this year for the Bulldogs, and your thoughts on the future of Brookfield football?
We had a lot of great senior leadership this year. We definitely hit a rough patch there in the middle of the year that, we lost some games, that maybe we felt like we shouldn't have. And you also had the injury bug a little bit. But I felt like by the second half of the season, really, we started really figuring out who we were, and I felt like we just started playing a lot better. I feel like we were definitely playing our best football at the right time. We got 3 big wins there, including that playoff win against Lawson. And then we played a really good game against Pies. I think that's actually one of those that could win either way. We had a couple things that didn't go our way, as well as we just didn't execute, some big plays at some big times, But, I feel like we're a great football team. Obviously, 5-5 isn't where we wanted to be. I feel like we were better than most 5-5 teams. But when you play, in the Clarence Cannon, there's always really good football teams. So really proud of these guys. I do feel like the future is bright. I feel like we found, what we are good at, when it comes to the flex bone offense. I feel like we have some guys that are really going to have to step up. We had a lot of seniors this year that played on both sides of the football, so we're going to have some guys step up, and especially some of those leadership roles. But I think we have some guys that can do that next year.
Scott Stevens, head football coach of the Brookfield Bulldogs. Dawson Baker, KRES All-Star offensive lineman. Really appreciate you both joining us on an All-Star presentation.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Thanks very much.
Joining us now with 3 KRES All-Stars, first-year head coach, Centralia's Tyler Forsey. Coach, congratulations on the 3 players named. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, I appreciate that. First thing I'd like to do is thank you guys for putting this on. This is a really big deal every year. It's a great class this year of a lot of really good athletes, and congratulations to everybody who made it. Yeah, the 3 guys that I have that I'm going to introduce here in a minute, were a big part of the success that we had. During quarantine, I was sending out workouts and so forth for these guys to do at the house and so forth. Bo Gordon was orchestrating all the receivers and running backs getting out throwing on the field, kind of doing his own practice. And, Sam Lynn, I'd catch him lifting weights with sandbags and stuff in his driveway as I'd drive by to go to my house, and Liam Hill, he was also there, those some workouts with Bo, on the football field as they were, doing the best, they could with the time that they had. So, we had great leaders and great leadership. And that was a big part of our success that we had this year. One doesn't go without the other. And, I had high expectations for this group as they had themselves. And, that was a big part of what kind of made us click was, these guys along with, the rest of the team, just kind of, swinging every curveball that came their way, whether it be games that got rescheduled or even canceled. And, I was pretty proud of them, as they faced a lot of adversity. First guy that I'd like to introduce is Bo Gordon as a quarterback. Bo accumulated for, several yards for us, passed for nearly 1,400 yards and ran for another 500, picked up 13 touchdowns on the ground, threw for another 10, was a dual threat for us there, and also did a good job on defense. He's a first team all-conference linebacker for the second year in a row. We have high expectations of what to expect even next year for him as he's still growing and getting better. And, he's a leader for us, and the kids respond very well to him. He comes up big in big plays, and, it was a guy that, we could always count on during crunch time to come up big. So first guy I'd like to introduce is Bo Gordon. Congratulations, bud.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. The next guy that I'm going to talk about is Sam Lynn. He's been an anchor on our offensive line for the last 2 years. Done a fantastic job of, kind of taking that group and leading them, and again, kind of having the mentality that we're going to get those tough yards. He's a hard worker. He's, somebody that leads by example, because you can always count on him to do what's right when it's right. And when he, when I saw him doing the workouts in the driveway and so forth, I knew right then and there we had the right guys for the job. We were going to have a successful season. It's just the type of guy that he is. He's very blue collar, want to get after it. He did a good job of, allowing Luke Hunter to have a good year on the ground, Bo to do his things. He was a big part of that, and kind of helped lead the way in what I felt like was a very good offensive line group. So, I was very thrilled with him. And, he was a very good defensive lineman for us too. He was somebody that, again, game in, game out, the other team was going to have their hands full, try to stop him on the defensive side. And, on the offensive side, they knew we were going to run behind him and, had to put their best guys over there to, try to defeat that from happening too. So, Sam Lynn is on the offensive line. Congratulations.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah. Okay, and the last guy that I'd like to introduce is Liam Hill. Liam played receiver for us and mainly defensive back. And quite honestly, he's probably the most talented player I've ever coached, and probably the best defensive back. He's just got a knack for making plays and making it look easy when he does it. He's a type of kid that kind of does spectacular things routinely, and, we kind of got used to it. And, it's the type of deal I'd like to redshirt him and see if we can do it again. But, every game, the opposing coach would, they'd come up to me beforehand or afterwards and, just, talk about the kid's athleticism. And he's very, very athletic, but he's tough. He was dang good tackler, as a defensive back. Sometimes those guys are good cover guys, and that's about all they got. But not with this kid. He can cover. He can cover some ground, and he's got a good nose for the ball. He's got very good ball skills. One of the first plays of the season, he had an interception that he almost scored, took it all the way back to the 1 yard line. I give him a hard time about that, but he's a playmaker that is definitely going to be missed for sure this year. So, or excuse me, this next year. But these three guys were a big part of the success that we had, and like I say, they were leaders and showed great leadership whenever we asked them to do things, or when it's time to get things going. These were the guys we could always lean on to get the team rallied around to come up with a big play or come up with a big answer on defense or offensively, either one. So last KRES All-Star got Liam Hill as defense back.
Coach, three great players. Congratulations on a fine season.
That. And again, thank you guys for everything you guys do. You guys do a good job giving a lot of limelight to these young athletes around the region.
Thank you, Coach. That's Centralia head coach Tyler Forsey with his KRES All-Star Sam Lynn, Bo Gordon,
Right,
and Liam Hill. Thank you, Coach.
We turn our attention to the Hallsville Indians now for our next KRES All-Star presentation, and we are joined now by Hallsville Indian head coach Justin Conyers, along with his KRES All-Star Harrison Fowler. Coach Conyers, take it away.
Yeah, how you guys doing? I'm sitting here with Harrison Fowler, our 2020 KRES All-Star Award winner, and very, very proud of the season that Harrison had for his sophomore outing this year. 1,348 yards rushing, 18 rushing touchdowns. He averaged a little over 7 yards per carry. Then he added 6 receptions for 157 yards and 3 more touchdowns through the air. So just an exceptional year for us. And he got real close to setting an all-time rushing record here at Hallsville that last year's Mason Husky and Cooper Crane set, and he did it in 2 less games than they did. He was voted to the MFCA first-team all-district team. He's first-team all-conference running back in the Tri-County. Just an outstanding kid in the weight room for us. I think that really contributed to his success both on and off the field this year. And, Harrison had a tragic injury to end, the season for him this year. He broke his leg in just the second play versus Palmyra in the state quarterfinals. And he wanted nothing more than to go out and showcase his talents that day. With the second opportunity to see the Panthers on that Saturday, and it ended a little short for him. But I know that he's going to work his tail off here in the weight room this offseason, and I know he's going to do a great job getting himself back to full strength, and he's going to be coming back bigger, stronger, and faster for his junior season. So without further ado, I'm going to announce this award to our 2020 KRES All-Star winner running back, Harrison Fowler.
And Coach, I gotta ask you guys a couple questions as hand over that certificate. I gotta ask, as far as the season, Coach, not just having Harrison, but this whole young underclassmen group you had. How exciting is it to have kids like Harrison Fowler as the building blocks building forward for that Hallsville program right now?
Last year I told the group of 16 seniors we had that they were going to be the foundation, of the Hallsville football program for years to come. And, that really does mean that these guys are the building blocks now. We had the foundation last year. These young men are the building blocks. To be able to return, we're going to have 10 returners on both sides of the football next year. We came off this last year where we just returned 1 offensive starter and 1 defensive starter. So having some familiar faces when we return back this summer, I think it's going to be really essential to us being able to be successful next year.
And Harrison, I got to ask, kind of piggybacking off what Coach just said, as far as that injury, as unfortunate was, how much of a motivating factor is that for you now to get back, to get to work, rehabbing, and to be back bigger, stronger, and faster next season?
Just a huge motivation, just to push me, and just another thing to just keep me going and get stronger and faster. It just makes me want to be even better than I was.
And Coach, just got to ask, anything else you like to add before we let you guys go?
No, we're super excited about the opportunity that we had this year to, we were one of the fortunate schools where we didn't miss a week. We had 3 games canceled on us, and we were able to go out and find games. And I just want to thank everybody out there that contributed to that. Reached out to other coaches and helped us fill our schedule this year. When we had games canceled on us. So this has been a crazy year in 2020, and we hope that it gets a little brighter next year, and we don't have to face all the adversity, that comes with other than just coaching on Friday nights. But thank you to everybody that helped out and helped us find those games. And thank you guys for all the coverage that you guys continue to do. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Coach Cotton, that's Coach Justin Conyers and his KRES All-Star Harrison Fowler of Hallsville. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our next KRES All-Star is the Harrisburg running back, Wyatt Robinson. We're joined by Wyatt, head strength coach Blake Logan, and head Harrisburg coach Steve Hopkins. Coach Hopkins, I'm going to throw it to you first. Take it away. What has Wyatt meant to the team and to the program throughout his years and your 2 years?
Yes, I just mentioned before we went on the air, there's not an offensive record in our program's history that Wyatt does not currently hold, and it'll be virtually impossible for anybody to break that record. It's going to be there a long time in terms of touchdowns, yards, rushing, and then he's an outstanding defensive player as a linebacker also. And all of that is important, but also what's really important is for the first time in the history of our school, we had consecutive winning seasons. Last year was our first playoff victory. This year we made it to the district championship, and Wyatt was the leader in all of that. It takes a team, but Wyatt was the piece that without Wyatt, I don't know how we get that done. And it's just been an honor to coach him. He also has, since I was hired, since Coach Logan and I were hired, he's not missed a day in the weight room in the 2 years that we've been involved. And that is not just an accident, and then it's not just a small thing. He also is our team taxi service for several younger players, several of whom turned into being excellent players this year. And we've talked before as a staff, the time they spend in the car coming and going from practice, I'm sure is beneficial for our overall program, as he's really, really been a leader in every sense. He's been the captain, and I'm just extremely honored to have coached him. This is my 44th year coaching, and he's one of the best I've ever had. So congratulations, Wyatt, on being named to the KRES All-Star team.
All right, we're going to go full on to Wyatt. He's got Coach Blake Logan with him. And Coach Logan, if there's anything you want to add about Wyatt and what you've learned about him, what he's meant to the program.
I think Coach Hopkins hit the nail on the head. And we had talked about it numerous times, how he had helped, he helped the program being one of the better players on the offense and defense side of the football. But what he did outside of the gridiron with recruiting many kids that wouldn't be playing the sport will help the program moving forward even after he's gone. So that's the biggest thing that he should keep his head up high about, is the fact that any future success that we have, he's going to be a big part of that as well.
And Coach Logan, wanted to keep you on just to ask you, one of the things that Wyatt has raved about is how obviously Coach Hopkins has to change the culture at Harrisburg, but you have helped change that culture too, because it's kind of a no-nonsense approach in the weight room, whereas in years past, maybe it's not. And this year and in years prior, it's really just a big focus to put a lot of emphasis in the weight room and take it seriously.
Correct. And that it's a lot easier for coaches to make, not fight against it, fight the good fight or fight the old fight. But, when you're really passionate about it, I think kids see that. And when they start to see success, I think it's a little bit easier. So the no nonsense from last year to this year, they probably seen a little bit more lightened up Coach Logan, for the simple fact that they know what's to be expected. And so they kind of police themselves now when it comes to that.
And then Coach Hopkins, going back to you, we ask Wyatt all about the culture change and how you have brought the culture change within yourself. You've obviously been doing this a really long time. What do you think you have done as a coach to bring this culture change to Harrisburg football?
Well, my part's actually real minor. The administration made a tremendous commitment. The athletes made a commitment. And I have to say, it's not just Blake. We have a tremendous assistant coaching staff. And so many times what they do is not seen by the public, and we have great assistant coaches, Zach Bowman, Mason Harden, Vinny DeBenito, and then Blake, of course. They've just made everything on my part easy. And really all we've tried to do is keep it as simple as let's get better every week, every day in practice, every rep in practice. And that's where, again, Wyatt has shown great leadership. And that's a change that doesn't occur overnight. It started in May of 2019 with our first practice where there was just exactly 11 young men that showed up. And then, by the end of the season this last year, we were well over 30 at practice. And that we hope continues. And that's, again, part of the legacy that Wyatt brought to our program. And again, our assistant coaches, our administration, Mr. Fessler, our AD, Mr. Fisher, our principal, Steve Combs, our superintendent. I could name several others.
That is honoring Harrisburg's Wyatt Robinson, Coach Blake Logan, Coach Steve Hopkins. Wyatt, thanks to all you guys for getting together, putting the time in to get this done. And coaches, thanks. And Wyatt, congrats on the honor.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do for football.
Thanks again. We'll really miss that banquet, Wyatt.
Yep.
I'm pretty upset that he's not going to get a chance to see that because that was a very high-class thing that you all did last year.
Yes.
It's time to honor our Kirksville Tiger on the KRES All-Star team, Noah Copeland, a repeat KRES All-Star. And, of course, the Tigers coming off a winning season, 6-5, their first winning campaign since 2013. Coach Kevin Kriedemeyer, thanks for coming on with Noah, and we'll turn it over to you for our All-Star presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Noah's been a blessing. They won 3 games last year, and he's been a huge part of what we're trying to do here. Kirksville this past year. Really happy with that. One of my favorite stories about Noah was early in the season. I think Jaden just come off the field throwing a pick. I looked at Noah and kind of put my arm around him and told him, man, I'm just trying to help you get some touchdowns and do the things you need to do to be successful, to help us be successful. And he's like, Coach, I'm not worried about stats. I just want to win football games. And that's when I knew I had a special kid. I'm proud of him. I'm excited for him. And he's a, all-star, all-state receiver last year. And hopefully we can get him on there again this year. He's going to leave Kirksville here as a career leader in catches in the season and as a career. And he's also going to leave in reception and yardage for the season and for a year. Blessed to coach him and excited for what he's got coming in his future. Hopefully a lot of good football ahead. But we're excited, and I'm blessed to have Noah. Here you go, Noah.
All right, thanks, Coach, for the presentation. Congratulations to Noah. Maybe I just follow up, Noah, with a question because you are a two-sport KRES All-Star, also voted to the team on the basketball floor. Do you feel like the two sports complement each other as far as helping you excel on the field and on the court? For example, does football make you a better basketball player?
Yeah, I think with basketball and football, the physicality you can bring in from football really helps. And just this past week, I got the rebounding leader, and I think that physicality helped me and helped me excel in that area.
In the same way, have you ever used your box out skills to go after a football?
Yes, and in that same way, going up and getting a rebound is pretty much the same as going up and high pointing that football.
All right. Coach, curious, you wrapped up your first season as head coach. When you got the Kirksville job, how long did it take you before you started to think how you could use the talents of this young man in your program?
Yeah, it started early and often, and then you see him on film, and then you meet him in person, like, man, this kid don't drop a ball. And you're like, how many ways can we get him the ball? And shoot, we probably didn't give him the ball enough. That's for darn sure.
Well, a nice season, Coach, in your first year there with the Tigers. We congratulate you. And Noah, congratulations on being voted as a repeat selection to our KRES All-Star team.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's Kirksville coach Kevin Kriedemeyer and All-Star Noah Copeland.
And joining us now is first-year Macon head coach Jamison Allen and his KRES All-Star Christian Rickenberg. Coach, take away.
Hello, I'm Coach Allen, and I am proud to award Christian Rickenberg with the KRES Radio All-Star Award. Christian was an outstanding wide receiver and punter for us. He had 30 receptions for 505 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 150 yards rushing and another 5 touchdowns, and he punted and was the first probably ever punter to have 30 punts for 717 yards and 0 returns. He had no punts caught or returned this year. So he's second team All-State punter for us this year, and we are looking forward to great things from Christian in his senior year, this being his junior year. So I am honored to present Christian with this award and thank him for his service and what he's going to do for the future of Macon football. Thanks, sir.
And, Coach, I'll ask you real quick, being a first-year coach, what's it like having an athlete like that on your squad when you arrive who's already had success on the field?
I tell you what, he's like a security blanket. You know, he's a guy that no matter what we're doing, if we need something, if we need a big play, he's that guy. He's a guy he's electric no matter what happens, where he is on the field. We're going to find more ways to get him the ball in the upcoming season, but to know that he is around and that he can do anything at any time, and you have to be aware of where he's at on every play he's in the game, really helps us to be dynamic in what we're going to do in the future of this program. So I'm excited to be able to work with such a great athlete. I'm honored to do so, and I look forward to the future of Macon football.
I know this is a rough week for Macon football as we find out that legendary coach Hugh Dunn has passed away. Have you had a chance to meet him in your time there? What do you know about Hugh, and what can you tell our listeners about him?
I was honored to meet him one time before one of our games. He was seated on the track in a bubble so that we couldn't get close to him because of the virus. But I got a chance to wave to him and just honor him for what he's done and what he's meant to Macon high school, Macon athletics, Macon football, and this community. He's done a lot for a lot of people. He's just a staple of this community, and to know that what he's done in his past with his military background and what he's done with this football program through those times and all the injuries and all the things he's sustained over his lifespan, but still was able to motivate and bring passion and excitement to this community. I'm just honored to be part of such a great history.
Macon head coach Jamison Allen and KRES All-Star Christian Rickenberg have been our guests. Thank you both for your time.
Thank you.
Mark Ross, the Lewis and Clark Conference Coach of the Year. Marceline, 6 straight conference titles, a back-to-back district champion, and a state quarterfinalist this season, state semifinalist a year ago. Mark Ross's 2 KRES All-Stars are both juniors. Wyatt Molloy, a defensive back and wide receiver on the team as a defensive back, and Nathan Cupp, a lineman on both sides of the football, also a junior, and he is on the team as a KRES offensive lineman. So here is Marceline head football coach Mark Ross with your KRES All-Stars.
Thanks, Eric. First, let me start off by saying that we're thankful that both these guys get to come back next season. They've been extremely instrumental in leading the team on both sides of the ball this year. Nathan Cupp, over my left shoulder here, was an anchor on our offensive line this past year. He transitioned from tackle to guard this past season pretty seamlessly. He was a huge reason for us averaging 252 yards rushing per game and 393 yards a game total offensively, all the while leading the team to the second highest scoring average in school history at 41 points a game. Wyatt, over my right shoulder here, returned this year to a strong safety position. Finished the season with 55 tackles, 4.5 tackles for a loss, a sack, and an interception on the season. He helped lead the secondary in a much improved pass defense this past season. But, I think the thing that stands out to me above all these on the field, accolades that these guys have received is both these guys serve on our leadership council for us. They do a lot of great things off the field. They don't always show up, in a stat sheet and those are the things that I'm most proud of. These guys are a huge part of our team. And, like I said, we're very excited to have them back next year. And, in a year where things could have went sideways real fast with all the COVID stuff going on, these guys were a huge part of bringing the team together and kind of leading us on and off the field. And we're extremely excited for them to get this recognition, and they're very well deserving. And we'd also like to say congratulations to all the other coaches and players that were selected.
Now, Wyatt on the team is a defensive back, but being a Swiss Army knife on offense, and then you've got Nathan Cupp with you on the offensive line. How fun is it for you calling plays for that group?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that we can do with these guys, in order to get the ball in different guys' hands, and different blocking schemes that we can do up front with, especially with some of the experience that, somebody like Nathan has coming back this year. So it's a lot of fun. It's just kind of on Sundays you sit back and it's like, okay, what can we do this week that's different and crazy and a lot of fun for these guys?
I know I've asked you this many times, but back-to-back district champions now, and you have a once-in-a-generation senior class coming up. So just how excited are you and the Tigers for the 2021 football campaign?
Yeah, we're extremely excited. This season didn't end quite the way that we had hoped. So that's a little fuel in the tank for getting ready for next season, and know that we've got a lot of work to put in to start preparing for next season. I know these guys are chomping at the bit to get back to work, and football season's going to be here before we know it, hopefully, and we're really excited to get things rolling again.
Marceline head football coach Mark Ross, his KRES All-Stars junior defensive back Wyatt Molloy, and junior offensive lineman Nathan Cupp. Congratulations to you all, and stay well.
All right, thank you.
It's time for another KRES All-Star Award presentation, and it is time to look at the Milan Wildcats. We are joined by Coach John Dabney and his two KRES All-Stars for this season, Dominic Dabney and Axel Pagan. And with that, I'll turn the floor over to Coach John Dabney.
Hey, I'd like to say hello to everyone that's tuned in, and Merry Christmas to everybody. And again, thank you to KRES Radio for selecting Dominic and Axel to your 2020 Team of All-Stars. It's quite an honor to be selected to this. And we also would like to congratulate everybody else out there on their achievements as well that's on this team. And all of us have really worked under some extreme conditions this year with this virus, and the stress is a little bit different. And I just hope I guess in the long run, it makes us all a little bit better. One thing tonight is just Milan's is Dominic Dabney and Axel Pagan. I want those two boys to know before I talk about any kind of statistics or accomplishments, just how much joy they've brought to me as a coach. Over the years, these two young men just don't rely on their talents and just going to get by at a Class 1 level. They try to be examples for others. They push others to achieve goals. And I firmly believe these two guys, what makes them special is their goals are typically their biggest thing is team goals. And that's, I think, where they really, truly find joy. I learned a long time ago as a kid, and I was taught this in grade school, and I happened to hear this again this past weekend, that Fulton Sheen once said about the difference between joy and happiness, and where all these different pleasures come from outside material things, and really joy is just stuff with your faith, anything in good conscience that you do to try to help others that makes you feel good, and that's kind of how these guys are. Now, these boys take great pleasure, and they've well earned all these accolades that they've had, but down deep, if you really ask them, they get their joy out of averaging 8 wins a season throughout their high school career, a couple conference championships, things that they've done with their teammates. And because those pleasures and things of that nature, they kind of go flash quick like lightning. They're nice, but the things that are joyful, those inner satisfactory things, are these old championships and the things that are steady and last for quite a long time. And these guys, of course, those things that last a long time, what brings them joy, what brings me joy, are the things that'll carry on to these next Wildcats into the next group that's coming up and going through. And there's been great examples. And I just, again, thank both of you guys for everything you've done on and off the field to make our program statewide known. And now I want to talk about Axel Pagan. Axel, he's a first-team unanimous offensive lineman in the Grand River Conference. He's a first-team all-district offensive lineman. He was just selected third-team Missouri Football Coaches Association All-State team. And now he just achieved his first 2020 KRES All-Star. Axel's one of our leaders on the offensive line. We have a very good offensive line. Axel's definitely one of those guys that leads and gets guys motivated, inspired. This is a pretty tough conference we play in. And, he was a leader of an offense that put up 46-73 in yardage, 57 touchdowns, 24 successful two-point conversions in 11 games. And your leader on your offensive line, we've averaged to 424.1 yards a game in a 9-2 season. And we're state ranked most of the year. And it was well earned too. It's just one of our leaders. He's a great pulling guard, and on the other side of it, he also hardly ever leaves the field. He's a linebacker on all the special teams. You're talking about a young man that was also a first-team all-district linebacker and all-conference linebacker. 109 tackled. I just can't say enough good things about Axel and what he has brought to our football team this year and our program through the years. And I'd be remiss if I did not also mention that Axel also had an 86-yard touchdown kickoff return when he was filling in for, I think, Dominic, actually, wasn't it? And so that was quite the living a lineman's dream his senior year. So all the things that they've earned, they don't ask for them, but the harder you work, the luckier you get, and those things come to those people that work hard. And again, I can't say enough about Axel Pagan and what he has brought to us, and just a great team leader. Axel, when I see you next, here is your certificate.
All right.
And your patch.
Thanks.
Our next KRES All-Star is Dominic Dabney. Dominic's built a little resume over the last 3 years as a linebacker. He's made the KRES All-Star team as a linebacker. Dominic was a 4-year first-team all-conference and 4 years of first-team all-district linebacker. And he's also been on both sides of the ball in all-conference and all-district as a running back as well. On the state level, he's been an all-state football player for 3 years. He's been an second-team all-state linebacker his sophomore and junior year, and just recently was selected first-team all-state as a running back. He's been a KRES All-Star last year, and, of course, this year he's a 2-time KRES All-Star. As a linebacker, he's had 9.3 tackles a game, 10 tackle for losses. Kind of tweaked the knee early or in the middle of the year after a South Harrison game. But the biggest thing about Dominic is when we got probably our biggest, toughest games, he was one of our leaders in tackles. He's had 12 and 10 on the 2 Princeton games, 11 against Gallatin. Those are games that, really stand out to me when we really need he and Axel in there. They can really pick up the slack there. Dominic, career total was 347 tackles. It's an average of 87 a year, 32 tackle for losses. And the thing that impresses me over this 4 years that he's played, he's had 19 forced fumbles. So he's not getting there just wrapping you up. He gets there in a nasty mood to get there. 4 interceptions, 3 defensive scores, 2 pick sixes, and a scoop and score. He does his resume defensively is fantastic. He's also, like I said, been a running back that made it to All-State, was in the meeting I was in, was the second leading rusher in the state at 1872. He was the second leading carrier in attempts actually on our team with 152, but he still had a 13-yard average as a running back. That's pretty good average carrying the football, playing linebacker. Over 2,000 yards in his season as a senior year. Again, 4,832 career offensive yards, 230 points scored, 33 touchdowns. He's been also on the all-conference teams as a returner, and those numbers could even be better. Like most good returners, they don't kick to you very often. But Dominic is one of these guys that going to be sorely missed. I mean, he's played a lot of roles for us over the 4 years. And I think one of the biggest things I can say about him, as well as Axel, is I don't think I've ever told these guys ever, wake up, let's go to the weight room, go do this. These guys are so self-motivated. And that's what's going to make them just great individuals as they get. That's what's going to take from football as they get older is you got to work and earn everything you can get. And these little pleasures and happiness things, KRES teams and everything are great. They don't last forever, but what really is joyful is, sharing this stuff with your other teammates because they helped you as well. And I want to make sure these guys, I know what they've put in. And not often do we get two players count on the KRES team. And so just an honor with coaches and KRES have given us this opportunity. And I just care a lot about my players like any other year, but definitely can't say enough about these two players. And we're always here for them down the road. Once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. Dominic, here's your KRES certificate and patch. Thank you. We appreciate it. Merry Christmas to everyone.
And thank you, Coach John Dabney, and to your All-Stars, Axel Pagan and Dominic Dabney. Congratulations, guys. And as you said, Coach, Merry Christmas to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is time to honor 3 KRES All-Stars from the NCMC champion Moberly Spartans. And with our presentation, the head coach of the Spartans, Cody McDowell, as we honor receiver Toby Short, linebacker Jackson Miller, and defensive lineman Jarrett Kinder. Go ahead, Coach. Take it away.
Well, thanks for having us be part of this. Obviously, the selection process we know is very difficult, especially with the number of schools that are in this thing. And we always talk about what a great honor it is to earn this award. And our first recipient, Toby Short, was a guy that he's grown up a lot over the years. This year, probably his biggest transition was he became the guy. Where it went, and he didn't quite have the role he did last year as he did this year. He was, when we needed a play, he was kind of the guy we looked to, and he obviously capitalized on a lot of those opportunities. From a statistics standpoint, he had 55 receptions, 962 yards for a 17-yard average. He was first team all-conference wide receiver and defensive back. He was first team Northeast Media all-district wide receiver and defensive back. He was also on the KMZU Dream Team, and just last weekend he was awarded the second team All-State receiver for our Missouri Football Coaches Association, and then obviously this year he's 2020 KRES All-Star. So Toby, camera here. There you go. Take this. Okay, our second award winner, Jackson Miller. Jackson was kind of he was pretty much the leader of our defense. Kind of playing that middle linebacker position. It's a big responsibility. It's obviously the quarterback of our defense, and so we kind of rely on him to make a lot of calls and get people lined up in the right spot. And just a kid that I'd say when you turn on our film, he's one guy that really stands out and pops out on film. He's a guy he's a sideline to sideline guy, very smart, very very headsy player. Again, he's a two-way guy for us. He has a prominent role as a tight end as well. But at linebacker, he had 83 total tackles, 24 assists, 59 solo, 9 tackles for loss, a forced fumble, forced recovery, a pass breakup, and 1 interception. And that earned him first team all conference linebacker and tight end. He was also on the the Northeast Media all district team for linebacker and tight end. Was a KMZU Dream Team selection as well. Another great thing about Jackson is how smart he is, which is probably, I think it's probably a little bit tougher to get the academic side of things at the all-state level. And he was awarded our academic all-state selection as well for the Coaches Association, as well as second team linebacker. So our next 2020 KRES All-Star is Jackson Miller. I need that paper. I gave you the wrong one. Last but not least, Jarrett Kinder. Jarrett, this is his second time. Last year he was in person, so this is his first virtual KRES All-Star Award. But Jarrett, like I said, he's a 2-time guy on this team. One guy I think probably if you ask coaches, the biggest probably tribute to Jarrett is when you ask other coaches kind of how they prepare for Moberly. He's one guy they kind of prepare for and kind of scheme around, especially at the D line. He's a guy that if he's on one side, they run to the other. And I told other coaches this. I think we had a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball that benefited because Jarrett was on the other side of the field. So, defensively, he was 47 total tackles, 7 assists, 40 solo, 18 tackles for loss, which is a big game changer in a lot of situations. 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. He also carried the ball for us a lot. Over 100 rushes for over 500 yards. And 11 touchdowns. So he was an impact player in big situations. He's all conference first team running back and defensive line. Same thing with Northeast Media. He was all district running back and defensive line. He was awarded third team all state by the Coaches Association for defensive line. And again, like I said, for the second year in a row, he's a KRES All-Star.
All right. Congratulations to the 3 All-Stars. Maybe they could come in behind you there, Coach. I thought we can't let them off the hook without asking a follow-up question here. My question for the 3, and I'll let you respond to one of your teammates. On the football field, what makes your teammate an All-Star? Jackson, I'll begin with you since you're academic All-State. You get to lead the way. So, Jackson, what makes Toby? What makes Toby an All-Star? What do you admire about his game?
I think that no matter who he goes up against, he's got the confidence and the skills to make a play and ready to go up against anybody. So, definitely makes him an All-Star.
All right, Toby. What about Jarrett? Besides his good hair, what do you admire about him?
He's a big guy, man. He likes to hit people. I think that's what makes him an All-Star. He's always making plays. He's always throwing people around, which is what you want.
All right, Jarrett. What about Jackson? You played alongside him on the defensive side. What makes him an All-Star?
His physical ability to just play football, his brains. He flies around the field. He's out there, shoot every snap on defense.
Hey, congratulations, guys, on being voted an All-Star and also in winning the NCMC championship.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got it. Receiver Toby Short, linebacker Jackson Miller, defensive lineman Jarrett Kinder, our KRES All-Stars from Moberly High School with Coach Cody McDowell.
Time for another KRES All-Star presentation. Monroe City finished 8-3 this past year and also made a district championship. And they have 3 KRES All-Stars. David Kirby has Josiah Talton, Keaton Pennewell, and Connor Pfaff for the presentation. Coach?
Hey, I'd just like first off say thank you to KRES for putting this on. This is a great achievement. Very special honor to be a part of this team, and I'm really excited for the 3 All-Stars that I have. And the first All-Star is Josiah Talton. Josiah came back out this year, and he really did a great job in leading our defensive secondary. He was a shutdown corner, was a first-team all-conference defensive back, first-team all-district, and is really a special player. You know, he combines a lot of athletic ability at that position. We put him on an island against the team's #1 receivers, and he only gave up about 6 catches this year for under 100 yards total, and we're really looking forward to seeing what he can do in the future. Special player, special athlete, and very blessed. So first All-Star, Josiah Talton. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next All-Star, Ceaton Pennewell, linebacker. Ceaton, sophomore, started as a freshman for us, has led the team in tackles the past 2 seasons. Really come into his own. Obviously, a lot of people talk about, you know, he's got a lot of big shoes to fill with his older brother being a special player, but Ceaton is definitely one of the best football players I've ever coached. He's a smart kid, physical kid, and he plays the position the way a linebacker is supposed to play it, downhill and aggressive. You know, he had a great year this year, first-team all-conference, first-team all-district, and I know I'm very blessed that I'm going to have him for 2 more years, and he's a special player and is going to be a great leader for this team. So second All-Star, Ceaton Pennewell.
Thank you.
The last All-Star, offensive lineman Connor Pfaff. Connor's a 4-year player for us, plays our strong side guard. He's been one of the big reasons we've been so effective running the ball the past 3 years. And kid's kind of a renaissance guy. You know, he does it all at Monroe City. He's in the choir. He's, you know, top 10 in his class, very intelligent. And he takes all those attributes out onto a football field, his intelligence, his passion for things. And then he flips this switch and turns into like a little hot rod out there, wants to get out there, get physical with the point of attack and mix it up. And I've been really happy with the way this kid has matured from his freshman year to his senior year. And he's earned every accolade, you know, all conference, all district, got a good shot at being an all-stater. And he's really helped us build this thing and been a great role model and has been a very special player for me for the past 4 years. And to be named a KRES All-Star senior year is a really special honor, and just really appreciate all the hard work you've put into this program, Connor. So final All-Star, Connor Pfaff.
Congratulations, you 3. Coach, I'll give you a follow-up question here with this team. You have 3 new KRES All-Stars to the team. Talk to me about just their overall growth with those 3 players over the course of the year that have gotten them to this point.
These kids have grown leaps and bounds. You know, I'll start with Josiah. He was kind of a question mark because he didn't play as a sophomore. We knew he was extremely athletic, and when they told me he was coming out for football, I'm not gonna lie, I grinned a little bit. I was like, yes. And then to see what, you know, him taking his God-given abilities and his speed and his athleticism and putting it on the field and really starting to learn how to play the game of football. He really stepped up. He took to it like a duck to water in our defensive secondary. He listened to what Coach Idris was trying to do with our defense and listened to his position coach with Coach Murphy and really soaked up their knowledge. And so to see him grow and become the player that he has been a really special thing. And he's going to have, you know, he's going to be something special next year as a senior. So I'm glad he's coming back. And then with Ceaton, you know, like I said in his little interview, he's had some big shoes to fill, and he's done it very well. You know, being his older brother was a good player for us, and he's come into his own right. He's definitely stepped up. You know, he's a team captain for this team for a reason. He works hard. He leads by example. And, you know, he's the first guy in the weight room. He's, you know, one of the last ones off the football field. He does all the right things to make himself the best player he can be, and he's definitely, you know, going to grow into an even better player. So he's really darn good right now, and he's only going to get better. And then finally, you know, with Connor's one of those guys that he fits into our system perfectly. He's smart, he's fast, he's aggressive. He takes coaching very well. He's very astute at what he's doing. He's a great student of the game. He understands angles, and he just works hard. And anything that he does, he puts 100% into it, and that's why he's going to be so successful in life. And they're good kids. They're great role models for Monroe City. They're great role models for Monroe City football. And to see the way they've all grown and to have such a great year this year, when a lot of people didn't expect us to be as successful as we were, it's been, as a coach, it's extremely rewarding to see how these boys have grown into young men. So they're a great group, and I'm proud that I get to bring 2 back, and I'm really sad that I'm losing 1, but he's going to go do great things and really carry on the lessons that he's learned in football into his life, and it's going to be good things for him.
Well said. Monroe City coach David Kirby joining us here. And also a big congratulations, Ceaton, Josiah, and also Connor. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's time for another KRES All-Star presentation, and we have North Shelby coach Seth Bass and the Raiders back in the district championship for a second consecutive year after an 8-3 record. And a big reason why they got there was because of the play of KRES All-Star Jackson Lunsford. Coach, it's all yours.
It's my great pleasure to give this award to Jackson Lunsford. He's been a great asset and a rock for us within our program for 4 years as a 4-year starter. Our culture and our team really centers around our offensive line, and our offensive line culture absolutely centers around him. So he's really set the tone for us, and his legacy is going to live on long after he's doing great things in college next year. So it's my pleasure to present this award to Jackson. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jackson. And Coach, I know Jackson has been a very integral part of this North Shelby squad for all 4 years. When did you know he was going to be a special player?
I knew he was going to be a special player when I got hired. He was still in 8th grade. He was a dominant force at the junior high level. He was big and strong then, and I was very excited to get him my second year here. So he's been on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive line for us, and has been very disruptive at D-line and almost impossible to block in offense. Once we moved him to the center, our offense really took off. So great leader, smart kid, and he meets the other roles of this program.
Yeah, and then Jackson, just a quick follow-up for you. I know that you've been thinking about playing at the collegiate level, and I know you sort of touched upon it in your KRES All-Star interview a couple days ago, but what's that looking like for you?
It's looking pretty hopeful. I'm very excited to be able to try it out and see what I'm capable of on that level. I can't wait to try it out.
We have Seth Bass and KRES All-Star Jackson Lunsford. Appreciate you two joining us this afternoon. And Jackson, congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Now, on our next KRES All-Star presentation, we turn our attention to the Paris Coyotes and Coach Gary Cruchet, along with his All-Star Devin Miller. Coach Cruchet, take it away.
Yes, we'd like to present Devin Miller for 2020 KRES All-Star Award. This is the second time Devin has received the KRES All-Star Award. Devin has played defensive tackle and offensive line for us the past 4 years, a 4-year starter. Devin broke several records this year. He broke the sack record. Devin is going to be a hard player to replace. He's size and speed and knows his football. It comes not very often. And recently we just found out Devin received first-team All-State. First time he received All-State honor. We're honored to have KRES sponsor this award, and we're glad that we get to have some kind of ceremony here.
And Coach, you look at Devin Miller on his career so far at Paris, and he's been a tackling machine. And what has he meant to this program in the last couple of years for you?
Yeah, well, Devin, he has been a tackling machine. You know, he led our team in tackles playing nose guard position. He had 78 tackles. He had 41 tackles for loss. I mentioned the 14 sacks. Normally that's numbers for a defensive end position or a linebacker position, but he did that from the nose guard position, you know, and you know, we're going to have a hard press to replace his size and speed at 6'3", 300 pounds. You know, Devin's hoping to go play at the next level next year. But, you know, he's been a good foundation for some of these young guys. Look how he plays all now on Fridays. And hopefully some of these young guys can look and see how he played for us and step up and fill his shoes next year.
And Devin, I'm going to kind of turn the attention to you as far as what you're looking at for college plans. Any particular college you're looking at, and any plans as far as the education side of that?
Yeah, well, coach has done really good at recruiting a lot of colleges to come look at me. I haven't really decided on any place, making me look at the whole option, and I haven't really decided what I want to major in or anything like that. I haven't decided really on a college yet. I have some college options.
All right. Coach, going back to you then, as far as, you know, you look at Devin and what he's, again, kind of meant to the program as far as seeing a player like this, what's it been like to coach him day in and day out over the past few years?
Well, it's fun to be able to coach athletes like Devin. You know, he's a big kid, but he's also an athletic kid at this size. And, you know, it's you know, you wish you had, you know, 10 kids like Devin out there coaching on the football field, because, you know, he plays hard, he practices hard, and sometimes we got to be careful in practice because we don't want him hurting our other players. So we got to manage that a little bit too. But, you know, he's been a 4-year starter for us. We've moved him around some. He used to his freshman, sophomore year, he's a defensive end. And then we moved to the inside last year, and then we moved to nose guard this year. We changed our whole defense this year just because we can put him nose guard and can control the inside run game. But you know, it's been fun coaching him. He's the best. You know, that's my 23rd year of coaching, 18th year as a head coach. He's the best defensive lineman that I've ever coached, and it's been fun.
All right, that is Coach Gary Crochet along with his All-Star Devin Miller here on the KRES All-Star Banquet. Guys, thanks so much for the time.
All right. Thanks, Bob.
And congratulations, Devin.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Our Scotland County representative is Alex Long, one of our linebackers, and presenting Alex Long, honoring Alex Long, is Scotland County coach Troy Carper. Coach, take it away.
Yes, Alex, he's been a 2-year starter for us at our linebacking crew. He's been all over the place. He's close to over 200 tackles in his career. You know, he's just has a nose for the ball. He plays the game the right way, helps the guys up, and then knocks them down on the next play. You know, we love to have him. We're lucky to have him one more year. Expecting big things. He's been in the weight room already, working his butt off. So I'm going to present this here to Alex Long. Thank you.
Coach, I'll go ahead and ask you a few questions about Alex. How excited are you, and what kind of things does he bring to the team for next year?
You know, he's just a leader. He's been a leader. You know, he had to step up in that leadership role this year, did a great job for us. You know, he has a nose for the ball, and he'll get there in a hurry. If you ask any team in the area, they'll tell you the same thing. He's all over the place, hard to block. You know, but we love him on offense just as much as he plays linebacker for on defense.
Well, and what kind of special things did you see from him this year that really allowed him to step up and increase that role defensively?
You know, we graduated as great linebacker last year with Brenton Burris. He was a KRES All-Star last year. So, you know, he had to step up and take that role over and be our leader on defense, you know, making all the calls, taking the call from the sideline, making sure everyone lined up right. And, you know, he did a great job. And, you know, that comes along with it being that linebacker and taking that role. But he does a great job. He studies, watches a lot of film. He just does things the right way.
What are the next steps in the offseason heading into early next season for Scotland County success next year?
You know, we're in the weight room and getting numbers in the weight room. That's been a problem, you know, since I arrived here 13 years ago as an assistant and so on. But, you know, we're excited about the numbers that are showing up right now. We're excited about the group we bring back. You know, we're expecting big things, and, you know, we want to make some noise with Willis and Clark, and we want to win that thing. You know, we play Marceline week 1. We have to be able to do that, and that's already on the wall, you know, week 1.
Scotland County's Troy Carper and Alex Long. Hey, guys, thanks so much for taking the time. And, Alex, congrats on the honor.
Thank you.
Slater has two KRES All-Stars this year, that being kicker punter Juan Valdez-Garcia and with Coach Michael Horton right now, the all-purpose selection, Keegan Zeibel. Coach Michael Horton, I will throw it your way. Tell us about your KRES All-Stars.
Absolutely. I'll start off with Juan. He was not able to be here with us today. He is actually in Mexico visiting some family. Juan, sophomore for us, kicked the ball for us, kicked off, and kicked extra points, and kicked a 33-yard field goal this year. So just super accurate, hard worker, really takes a lot of pride in his kicking. Love what he brings to us, 90% average on extra points on PATs. Just does a great job. Always wants to stay after, kick balls as long as he can after practice. And it really showed, and it really paid off for us. It made the decision to go for one pretty easy for us. So really, really proud of him. When it comes to Keegan, all purpose, there's nobody that fits the bill more than him. He did a lot of things for us. He played quarterback for us. He's a dual threat quarterback. Can take off, run the ball, and score at any time. He can throw the ball. Played defense for us. He was our leading tackler. Just a super phenomenal athlete. He actually was our punter, and kickoff returner. So probably would have been our kicker kicking PATs if we didn't have Juan. Just a super hard worker. He's the type of kid that is going to come out there and outwork everybody. If we're out there doing some sprints, his goal is to be first every time. And just with his talent level, he could have probably slacked off, but he led by example. And it really showed off. He's I think got 6 college offers right now. So we expect him to go on to the next level and do some big things. Just really, really proud of him.
And let's start off with Juan. You think small town football, and there's a lot of schools in the area that kicking isn't even an option. If they score a touchdown, they got to go for 2 every single time. I mean, how much does it ease your anxiety as a coach knowing that you got a kicker that is pretty reliable for those PATs?
Oh, it's awesome. I've coached at bigger schools, and I've been at bigger schools where we didn't have a kicker. So to be at a Class 1 school and to have somebody we can put out there and put up a point and know it's going to probably go in, 90% or more, we don't have any problem going for 1. There's times that we could probably should go for 2, but we know we're going to get that 1 point. So sometimes that's what we do.
And then with that being said, and easing your anxiety, and with Keegan, all-purpose selection, like you said, he could really do it all. His stats show the such for just about every area of the field. How does having an all-purpose guy like Keegan ease your anxiety as a coach as well?
Man, it's great having him on the field. We played him at quarterback because we wanted the ball in his hands as much as we could get it in his hands. He's a threat anytime he puts the ball in his hands. There was times we stuck him out at wide receiver and let another guy throw to him, and he'd go up and get the ball. He just did so many things for us, and he was a huge threat. Like I said, he returned some. He was our kickoff returner. He returned 2 of those for touchdowns. He had a couple interceptions that he returned for touchdowns. He had a fumble recovery that he returned for a touchdown. So, once he gets his hands on the ball, you better wrap him up, and you better bring 3 or 4 guys to make sure you get a hold of them.
And if you have the certificate, you can feel free to present any time. But really, just in terms of Keegan, you mentioned these college offers that he's got. What kind of things do you expect Keegan will bring at the next level for whoever his future college coach is?
He's going to bring work ethic, and he's going to be a playmaker at the next level. I have no doubt about it. He's a hidden gem. He's got some colleges looking at him as a wide receiver. He's got some looking at him as a defensive back, and he's got some looking at him as a quarterback. So he's got different colleges looking at him for different things, and he's just looking for the right offer and right right place for him. And he's going to bring work ethic and he's going to bring talent to wherever he decides to go. And I'll go ahead and present him with this All-Star Award. Congratulations, Keegan.
Right, thanks.
You well deserved.
Thank you, guys.
And then with that being said and looking at Juan and his future, what kind of things does Juan need to do in this offseason to up his game and to continue having him being in that reliable role for years to come?
One thing we want Juan to do is to get a little bit more power in his leg. We'd like to get him to where he's, kicking off and putting the ball in the end zone so we don't have no returns. Obviously, we want him to strengthen that leg strength to be able to kick some longer field goals. We know he can do it. And, with Keegan graduating this year, we'll probably have to rely on a few field goals next year whenever we don't put the ball in the end zone. So we expect him to do some big things for us next year.
That is the Slater representatives, kicker, punter Juan Valdez-Garcia, all-purpose selection Keegan Zeibel. Coach Michael Horton, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. Keegan, thank you as well. And pass the word on to Juan and to Keegan. Thanks for the time and congrats on being named a KRES All-Star.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your coverage.